What's up, guys? Welcome back to the poker vlog. This is going to be episode number 32. Sorry I missed you guys last week. A lot going on, family in town, firing and tournaments all over the city with nothing good to report. But we are prepared for the main event as a go. We're going to get into the hands real quick. But yeah, just to recap, haven't played a ton of cash lately, just a few sessions. Played about 7 tournaments or so. Venetian win, a couple WSOPs. And yeah, you know what? Just when I thought I was dead inside emotionally, as far as like getting on tilt, playing tournaments. Tournaments, man, I tell you what, busting tournaments is tilting, very tilting, especially when you grind all day long and get it in so good. But it is what it is, got to get over it. But I think we're ready for the main event. I'm super excited to play that for my first time ever. So let's get into the hands at the South Point 3-5 no limit, episode 32. Hope you guys enjoy. I have a really good hand that I've been waiting to share with you guys. So make sure you stay to the end on this one, and we'll see you at the end of the video.
All right, we just bust the South Point $240 tournament, 2 players before we bag chips. We're looking for some revenge in the cash game. I grabbed the max 1500, 3-5 seat is calling our name. Let's go. About 10 minutes in, we pick up ace-4 suited in the hijack. Middle position player raises to 15. Next player calls. I call. Button and big blind call as well. We go 5 ways to a flop of ace-7-4 with 2 spades. We hit top and bottom pair. Action is checked over to me, and I bet 40. Button puts in a min raise to 80 and has about 500 behind. Big blind takes some time and decides to cold call the 80 with about 1100 behind. Action folds back to us. I'm not really concerned with the min raise from the button, and I've played several times with the opponent in the big blind. If he has a made hand, say a set of 7s or 4s or ace-7, with a bet and raise in front of him on a wet board, it's highly unlikely he's just flatting the 80, right? So he must have a big draw. So given the information, it's time for us to make him pay. I decide to raise to 425. I make it a bit larger to not give the draws the correct price to play. The button makes the laydown, and the big blind has a decision. He takes about a full minute and decides to just call. His hand is pretty face up at this point, in my opinion. It looks like it has to be a combo draw, so we're looking to dodge the cards that can make straights, like 3s and 8s, and obviously spades. So we go heads up to a nice blink on the turn, deuce of clubs, which is great. He checks, so now we can go ahead and get the rest of the money in. I go all in. He's debating for another full minute whether he wants to call it off or not, but does decide to let go of the 6-8 of spades for the gutter and flush draw. That could have been a much tougher situation had he decided to play that really aggressively. Say I bet 40, next player makes it 80, then he cold 3 bets to 320 or 400. Now I'm put to a decision whether I think he has a draw or does he have a set of 7s. So I think the way he played it kind of made it face up, as I said, but happy we dodged it and we're off to a good start, up $600. Next we have ace-jack offsuit from under the gun. I open for 15 and we get 3 callers. So we go 4 ways to a flop, jack, 7, 10 with 2 diamonds. We've got top pair, top kicker, backdoor, nut flush draw, big blind checks. I bet 20 for value. I'm keeping it smaller here since there aren't going to be many turn cards that are great for us. Basically slowing down if any 8, 9, 10, queen, king hits. Good news is only 1 player calls, next 2 players fold. Turn is a nice brick, bringing the 5 of spades. I think a bigger bet would be better on the turn now, maybe 2/3 pot or more, but in the moment I bet 50. It's about half the pot, and he makes the call. River is a bad one, 8 of spades. 9 completes a straight now. But after I check, he checks as well, so we expect to be good, and we are. Nice.
I gotta find it. Deal me out of sight.
Next, we pick up 2 kings in the cutoff. Under the gun player opens for 20. Next player calls, and action folds to me. Definitely 3-betting in position, just debating how much. I decide to go a little bigger, the goal being to get it heads up. I make it 105. Action folds to the under the gun player who has other plans. He wants to play for more, deciding on a 4-bet to 275. Player in the middle folds, and it's on us. So a 4-bet from under the gun is pretty strong. Jacks are better. Ace king, ace queen suited. He started the hand with what looks like about 1600. Interesting size though, because I'd expect him to go bigger out of position as our hand range is narrowed down. I don't think you can go wrong with a 5-bet here, but kind of turns my hand face up. I also think you need to be flatting here in position sometimes to stay balanced. And the fact that we are over 300 big blinds deep, so I like to flat and take a flop. Heads up to a flop, ace, 6, 4. You all know the feeling. Standard ace on the flop when you have kings. He thinks for a little bit and down bets to 160, just as he would with like jacks, queens, aces, ace, king. We can't fold our hand for that price, and we still may have the best hand. I make the call. Turn brings an 8 of diamonds. Now he slows down and checks. I take some time and check back, looking to get to showdown for the minimum, hoping he has queens. River is a 10 of hearts, and after he checks again, I check since I don't think we're going to be getting value from worse. I actually think I'm good and turn over my kings first, saying that I can beat queens, but that is not the case as my opponent rolls over the dreaded ace-king. That's kind of been the story as of late so far. Maybe a blessing in disguise, though, that I didn't 5-bet since most people are just jamming ace-king, getting it in, and then I lose the max. But, oh well, life goes on. Next hand. Next, we have 10-jack offsuit in the hijack. Button straddle is on, and when action folds to me, I make it 30. Cutoff calls, straddler folds, small blind calls, big blind folds. We go 3 ways to a flop. King, 4, deuce, rainbow. So we have nothing. Small blind checks. I decided to check this one since I'd sometimes check a big hand on such a dry board. Last player checks as well. Turn brings a 7, no help. Small blind checks, and now feels like a good time to try and take this pot down. Unlikely the player behind me checked a king in position, and small blind probably doesn't check a king twice, so when in doubt, make a small bet. Bluffs don't have to be big bets. A lot of times the same goal can be accomplished with a much smaller size, so I bet $35. Next player folds. Small blind tanks for about 15 and lets it go as well, so it's not a big pot, but again, important to highlight some of these small ones that you should be battling for. Like I said, back in my earlier career, I probably just give up, but I mean, that's $100 in the middle there that you can fight for, so on to the next one. Next, I'm on the button straddle with a monster 5-7 offsuit. Under the gun player limps. Early position player raises to 30 and action folds to us. It's got to be pretty bad for me not to defend my straddle. That's what we straddle for. So I make a loose call and defend. Under the gun calls as well. We go 3 ways to a flop. 6, 8, 10 rainbow. We've got an open ender. Both players check it to me. I think this is an ideal spot to start semi-bluffing since this board is going to favor me so much more than under the gun limper and early raiser. So I bet 35. Under the gun player calls, and the original raiser takes some time and makes the call as well. Neither feel very strong. I feel like the original raiser is just peeling with overs like king, queen, queen, jack. Not sure about the under the gun opponent just yet. Turn brings a 3 of hearts, no help. Puts 2 hearts on board now as well. Both players check to me. I could just check and take a free one here, but I wouldn't do that with straight sets and 2 pair, so I'm going to continue with my read that neither is very strong. Keep telling the story, so here's where I think a bigger sizing makes sense. I bet 130, hoping to fold out the draws and weak pairs. Next player isn't worried. He decides on a call. Given his position with a player behind him, it feels like he at least has a really strong draw to continue here. The original raiser gets out of the way. Looking for a 4 or 9 on the river, but we brick it as usual, and it's a bad one, the jack of hearts. So now it completes a backdoor flush as well. He checks it to me. You guys know me, just like last hand, I hate giving up, but sometimes you have to. Backdoor hearts came in, 10 jack improves, queen jack improves, so after some thought on a third barrel, I waved the white flag on this one, and I'm glad I did because he shows the queen 9 offsuit for rivered nut straight. So our instincts were correct, but didn't get the run out we needed there. Okay, to the next hand that I could probably make a whole video on alone. We pick up queen 7 suited in the hijack. Button straddle is on for 10. One player limps from middle position, and I decide to raise to 50. All right, let's pause and talk about why. I know what some of you are thinking, Rob, queen 7 suited, what are you doing? Well, sometimes you're in a game where players aren't really playing back at you very much, and you can be a little bit more aggressive in position, especially in a deeper game. So that's the case in this game, and I'm going to be punishing limpers a lot. So that's what we have here. We got a player who limps for 10. I go ahead and make it 50. A lot of times I'm just going to take down the blinds and make 30 bucks. But if I do get called, hey, I'm in position, and most likely no one's going to play back, so let's go from here. So I made it 50 bucks. Button straddle folds. Action's on the small blind who decides to just call 50. I can kind of put him on a range of hands, probably middle pocket pairs, maybe some suited broadways. Not strong enough to 3-bet. And then that brings in the limper for middle position who calls the 50. So we go 3 ways to a flop. Ace, king, 6 with the ace, king of diamonds. So we have nothing. Action checks over to me. Now let's talk about why I'm going to bet. All right, let's take this back to pre-flop because it's important to start putting your opponents on ranges, right? So when middle position player limps for 10, I actually have some information on him though. He typically limps with his weak hands, raises with ace jack or better. So we can already rule out aces, kings, and ace king from him. He'd be opening, or if he was setting the trap, he would have limp re-raised, right? And I think the same can be said from the small blind. Typically, if he has ace king or better, aces, kings, he's going to 3-bet with players behind. He's not going to risk just calling, right? So this is a much better flop for us and our position in this particular situation. So that's why I fire out a bet of 125, a little bit on the larger side because we have no diamonds and we want to charge straight and flush draws. Action is over to the small blind who kind of hems and haws saying he's not really worried about me, worried about the player in the middle, which isn't cool, shows his neighbor his hand. So maybe he had an ace or pocket jacks or something like that. So he makes the laydown. Action is on the middle position player who decides on a call. Heads up action, and we get a 7 of spades on the turn. So we got ace, king of diamonds, 6, 7 of spades. We improve, make a pair at least. Now, middle position player does the leads out for $225. Now let's talk about what that looks like. All right, just calling and then leading out into the aggressor. Think about how often you guys do this and how strong you are if and when you ever do it. It doesn't happen that often, and normally when it is done, it's done with a marginal 1-pair hand, say like ace 10 in this situation, or a draw. Because we've already ruled out aces, kings, ace, king. Now we think, is it pocket sixes? Well, why would he just lead out, right? He's going to want to let me either bluff or continue betting with ace, king, ace, queen. So he's going to want to check raise or just check call down if he thinks he's behind. So pocket sixes not there, ace 7's not there. I have a 7. That's not a hand he's just limp calling 50 with. So we feel like we can put max pressure on like a 1-pair hand like ace 10 or push him off a draw. So this is when I decide to rip it all in for just under $1,000.
All in. Richard.
Was your heart pounding along with mine right there? Well, he made the call, as you heard. So now we're not feeling great about it. Don't think this opponent calls off with a draw, so we think he might have made a hero call here with just an ace, so we need some help. River brings a jack of diamonds, and my opponent quickly rolls over 4-5 of diamonds for a rivered flush. So he did turn an open-ended straight with it. So we had quite a bit of equity, but we still got the money in, a 65% favorite. So you can't complain about that. I mean, I know some people are going to say, Rob, you didn't even have to be involved with Queen 7 there, but I think you need to look past that. The important thing is, are you getting in the money good for over a 400 big blind pot? And we did, and we just didn't hold. So can't complain. So that's how it's going lately. So after this hand, kind of just call it a night. I played a tournament for 4 or 5 hours and played another 3 hours, so just wasn't in the mood to reload and continue. So in for 1,500, out for 0. I'll catch you guys at the end of the video. We'll go over another hand.
Nice hand. So I got both of them.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for number 32. Hope you enjoyed all the hands. What an annoying session, when you start off up 600 or so. Looks like it's going to go well, and you lose it all. But that's kind of how it's been going lately. Oh, I wanted to share one more hand with you. So we did get a little bit of a comeback. Could have been a comeback in a big way. Just like, 3 days ago, I didn't film at South Point. But check out this hand.
Okay, look at all these chips in the middle. Let's see how this develops. So that's me with the pocket aces. I was cruising along up about 1,200 before this hand. The player in the upper right with all the red chips in the middle opens to 20. Next player calls. I make it 75 with aces. Next player cold calls. Back to the player in the upper right corner, makes it 250. Next player on my right jams. I go all in. Back to the other player, goes all in. Pocket 10s, pocket kings, and I have aces. And here comes the flop. Here we go to the flop. Jack 10-3. 10s rolls it over right away. 4, jack on the river. Pocket Tens is going to scoop a pot over $2,200. Luckily, Pocket Kings had about $1,100 to start the hand, so we did win a little side pot there. Only lost about $480 or so on that hand. And luckily, we still battled back and made a $1,255 win on that session, so not too bad. Could have been huge, but I'll take it.
So yeah, after that hand, another missed opportunity at a massive win. If we win that pot with the aces, we're up like 3,400 or so. But we still booked a win, $1,255 after that one. So got a little bit of a comeback going. Feels good to put some money back in our pocket after spending a bunch of money in tournaments. That's about it. From here, I'll probably play one more cash session before the main event. Get that vlog going by next Sunday. And then probably going to do some studying and just make sure I'm ready to go. To put in a ton of hours at the main event, make a deep run, got all the run bad out of the way. Let's freaking go. As always, stay to the end for a cool trick shot. Honestly, I might be running out of trick shot content pretty soon since I'm focused more on the poker now, but still probably have 20 or so trick shots to share with you guys. So hope you enjoy that, and best of luck during the WSOP and wherever you're from. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.